Hi, this is Cathy for Trans by Deaf, and today we have a very academic question. The question is Transgender Terminology 101. Does it fit underneath the umbrella? I find this very interesting. The question was posed by Morgan Fay, and I find it a very academic type of question. In approaching this question, the first thing that I decided to do was Google transgender terminology. And I ran it through Yahoo and I ran it through Google to see what would pop up. And it was very interesting. There were about 8 or 10 lists of transgender terms and terminology that were published there or posted there by various people. In looking at those terms, some of them were as long as 25 pages worth of terms. And some of them were very short, as one or two as more or less of an introduction. If you look at the question we were asked, does it fit underneath the transgender umbrella? The answer is the long list, I really think, exceed the transgender umbrella by a long ways. And the short lists are probably way too short. So the long list, the terms are all necessary if you're working as a social worker, and I assume this question came from the final exam of some sexuality class at a university, because that's what it sounds like to me. When I started on a very fine level to compare definitions between one glossary of terms and another glossary of terms, I found that the definitions varied immensely. Most people can't agree on what a term means and how to use that term. For the big general terms, that there's only one possible definition, that's certainly not the case, but lots of the smaller terms, it was amazing the diversity I found in definitions that were there. This means that if someone uses a term for me and I Google it and I go to just one of those indexes, I may get just one opinion of how that term is used. If I go to another index, I will get another term. This is very difficult because how do we know they are correct? Well, I'm going to say what I was told and what I hear from the college students is that you can't trust the internet. It is not refereed. There's nobody that's a professional out there that reviews it, or in many cases the people that are there just post their own and nobody ever reads it besides them. So that's one of the problems that we have with these definitions, is knowing who is a reliable source that we can go and look at. I know when I'm preparing for one of the topics on Trans by Deaf or some other transgender discussion that I'm involved with, I always go to 2 or 3 sources and read the term that I'm looking at, and then try and come up with the best definition, or come up with what I think the definition is. And then I try and present that fairly as I'm going through. On the other hand, some of the short definitions were definitely intended for somebody that was brand new. If I were making a recommendation to somebody who is hitting Transgender 101 for the first time, I would say start out with the short, simple definitions and read them until you become familiar with them. And then go back through and look at the nuances of those definitions and look at the longer lists and the longer definitions and the multiple definitions for each of those lists. So that's the lower level at which you could look at Trans Terminology 101, is on a word-by-word basis. The next part that I think fits in this definition is if you look at who is put under that transgender umbrella. Are we putting the people who are brand new? Are we putting the people who are long-term trans people? Are we putting those who are stealth? Are we putting those who are icons that are out there exposing themselves to us? What do we do with cross-dressers? Do we include them? Most people do. What do we do with the people who go and perform in public as women and make a spectacle of themselves? All of these people we have to consider. I think for our 101 terminology, we should stick with the new transgender people, the people who are stealth, and the people who are icons, and the terminology that's used for them. I think we should shy away from the cross-dressers and the performers that are out there. I think that that is a mistake to include them in our definitions. The last phase of the umbrella, which I think we could look at, is the phase, what do we do with the general names that we have there? And I think someplace there should be a dictionary that gives those that terminology. I would say the WPATH definitions of many things are there. I hate to say it, but I don't always trust Google, and particularly Wikipedia, to give me those. And so I really don't know of a academic dictionary or academic list that's out there which has been reviewed and been carefully gone through. I went to the library and looked under sexuality, and there are a couple of books there that are somewhat dated on sexuality where they define the terms. And I think that that is a possibility for getting the terms. But even then, you're looking at a reviewer, at 2 or 3 reviewers, and the author, and he may have gotten his friends to be the reviewers. Well, this is what I have to say on Terminology 101. To sum it up, I would say for those who are new, get the short list, look for a short definition, and then see if you fit. The longer you're there, the more you'll read the different definitions for the different transgender subjects that you're dealing with. And I really believe that we should only include under this umbrella of transgender those people who are starting transition, those people who are stealth, and those people who are icons. I think we need to stay away from the rest of the people that are there. And with that, I realize that that's leaving out some of the other groups that are peripheral to ours, those who are bisexual, and those that are asexual, along with the people who are lesbian and gay. I just don't think they fit under this category. Well, I thank you for your time, and I hope to see you again next week. Bye.